In late August 2014, when students arrived at City College for the beginning of the fall semester, something was different.
The very first day of classes, I expected to be able to find my schedule on the first because that's never been a problem for me before. I can just walk into class or on the train, pull it up on my phone, or even check into the library, which is what I was trying to do. And CUNYfail, of course, was down on the first classes, and so that was awful for my scheduling. I missed a class. I wasn't sure where one of my classes was.
When we came in the beginning of the semester, once the system was down, that's it. You can't get into your account.
When I was sitting in the library, probably at the peak of my frustration, trying to figure this out, I looked up and sort of came out of my own world for a second, and literally every computer that I could see was displaying the same error screen.
Yeah.
CUNYfail is down, whatever, thank you for your patience.
During the spring and summer of 2014, the City College administration, under pressure from CUNY's central administration, introduced a new accounting and administrative software program called CUNYfirst. It crashed for the first few days of the semester, causing total chaos for students and faculty.
I still don't have my tab. Actually, my financial aid wasn't even processed in. I had to pay out of my pocket, and then I got the money afterwards. They dropped my classes a week after school. All my classes were just dropped automatically, and I didn't even know what to do. I freaked out, and then I had to go back and then register again. And there was one class that was filled, so I couldn't go back.
I at first was expecting to have to give more of an explanation to professors whose class my attendance was affected by. I was late to a class, and I told them I missed one class that I only had once a week, and it's today actually. So. But it's 3 hours, so missing the first class is missing a whole week of class.
Right.
But actually, this was such a prevalent problem that professors, for the most part, announced to the class that they were sort of making exceptions and being flexible about this before anyone came to them because it had just been so overwhelming.
But after the first week of the semester, students continued to have serious problems with CUNYfirst.
All right, so I have 2 grades for one of my classes, and CUNYfirst, around the beginning of the semester, only read one of my grades, which was the lower grade of the 2. It then decided that I didn't have the prereqs to be in the class I was in, and it dropped me from my class because of my previous grade. I spent most of my Thursday morning, which I missed the class, running around campus trying to get back into my class, and from what I understand, even to this point, I'm not in the exact same class. I got into the right class, but a different section.
So in CUNYfirst, my email address is still, I've updated my email address about almost every single week I update it. And it still won't switch over to my city mail.
Yeah.
It keeps going back to my Tiger mail from Queensboro. So that's negatively impacting me because my professor's trying to get in contact with me, or they're sending out an email hey, class is canceled, hey, I need this. Last minute changes, I don't get it because I don't have access to that old email address I used to use. And I've constantly gone to the technology center, there's no help. I feel I'm really behind in class. None of my professors can email me directly because they say it's whatever email is on Blackboard or on CUNY portal. And if my professors can't contact me for last minute changes on an assignment or adding something on a test or something, I won't know unless I go to class and I find out the next day.
I have a big problem right now with CUNYfirst. I'm not able to enter the building or anything. I have really problems with that because I lost my ID and I need to go to CUNYfirst to print my bill in order to, have a temporary ID or a new ID anyways, and it won't let me. It says that my password expired. I try to create a new password and it won't let me. The 3 backup questions, they say they're wrong, but I know I put the right information in.
First of all, they changed my major. I was a CUNY BA student and they changed it to an anthropology student, which is not true, and that affected my e-permit situation. And also on e-permit, I'm being charged for several courses that I did not take during the summer, and I've spoken to them several times and they don't want to change it. They're still charging me for it.
And are those classes that you never took, never registered for?
I never registered for. I have confirmation via email and everything, but they're saying that because we have CUNYfirst, they don't do mailing letters anymore to schools, that everything should be already in the system, which is not, which is wrong.
Right. So if you don't pay the balance for classes that you didn't take, what's going to be the effect?
Well, luckily I was able to get a student ID from Hunter College, and they accepted here. But I haven't been able to get the little sticker that shows that I'm applicable to come to this school on my city ID, and potentially will affect on what courses I can take next semester, and maybe even I won't even be able to graduate.
One of the most outrageous aspects of the CUNY First fiasco is that CUNY, a supposedly cash-strapped public institution, spent at least $800 million on it, with the total sum still unknown.
I think it's like garbage that CUNY First cost $800 million. You can look to the side right here, and there are like garbage pails capturing the leaks in the building, and like our building is like infrastructurally not sound.
How do you feel about this use of funds? Could it be better used elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that reinvesting in the students rather than having these top-down decisions of where our college money should go is like key in maintaining like the democracy of our college. And really, I think that we deserve to have like a nice building for us to learn in. Like our ceilings shouldn't have holes. We should have emergency scholarships for students who are in need. And I think that it's like wrong. I think that this allocations of funds are completely wrong, because any student here can tell you what we really need to invest in. New software wasn't a top priority.
Did you know that CUNY First cost $800 million?
I did, actually. It's pretty aggravating. You know, what we used for eSIMs was like kind of bad, although I actually never had a problem with it, so I didn't understand why there was a need to transition. I mean, what I see is that, you know, the university just trying to centralize, which is a whole other issue, but it's really, I don't know, it just makes everything harder for no reason. So, yeah, total waste of money.
Did you know that CUNY First cost $800 million?
Yes, I did.
And do you think there's a way the school can better allocate that money?
Yes, fuck yes. I think that first they need to get more full-time professors, man. Like, what's going on with all these overworked, underpaid adjuncts that are amazing, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic, and they're just like these brilliant bursts of energy that are amazing, but I think that they're given full-time work on part-time pay, and they're expected to do a lot more work than they're actually getting recognized for. I think that we need to invest in more like underdog departments, like the Women's Studies Department, the Black Studies Department. Yeah, they should be allocating more money in expanding more educational resources, and also making fucking centers for people. Yes.
Yes.
Like a gender resource center.
Yeah, it would be very nice.
You know, or like, you know, Women's Studies Program Office. Like, what the hell, man?
Can you talk about the size of the Women's Studies Program Office?
It's like, I can't even fit in there. My tuchus can't fit in there.
However, possibly the most profoundly disturbing aspect of CUNY First is how it has led to so many students arbitrarily losing their financial aid.
I used to attend Kingsborough Community College, and their CUNY First system is pretty much up and running. There's nothing wrong with it. I came back here to City College, and it wasn't allowing people to declare their majors, so that kind of messed up their financial aid. Running back and forth to the financial aid office, asking them, they're sending me mails saying, like, you know, your TAP and your Pell aren't going to go through because you didn't declare a major. I'm calling, you know, my advisor, like, we already declared a major, and they're saying, well, it's not our fault. CUNY First is not letting the major stick, and you have a deadline on Friday where it's like, if you don't declare your major, you're going to lose your financial aid, at no fault of my own. They were able to rectify the situation, but in the middle of a semester, when you have so many classes and papers and everything, that's very much a headache.
Around like 2 years ago, I signed up for a Stafford loan. I wasn't informed of like what would happen when the Stafford loan didn't go through, and so it didn't go through, and CUNY First uncovered this this semester, so I was unable to register for classes, and they put a stop on my account. It's been really difficult for me to register for classes. I've been in and out of administration pretty constantly, and they've been pretty unreceptive to helping me out. They say that the amount I owe is too large.
So this is my second year that I don't get fully financial aid,
Mhm.
even though right now I'm not working.
Mhm.
And it's always because those students thing with CUNYfail. I'm very unorganized.
Right.
All over the place. And the most important thing is that we get no help whatsoever
Right.
from anybody in this school.
Although CUNYFirst is a technically flawed piece of software with plenty of problems that no one intended, we have discovered in researching this film that the problems with financial aid are not the result of technical issues, but specific administrative decisions by CUNY Central.
And I had a contact in the campus who sent me an email from a faculty member who voiced actually a very serious concern about the kind of issue that that CUNYFirst was going to create. Essentially, what the email kind of like showed was that almost 1,200 students were not going to receive financial aid, or were going to retroactively be billed for classes that that they dropped out from last semester, or the transfer of funds and transfer of funds informations were going to be completely messed up. And she actually noted one very clear point, that is that CUNYFirst is essentially creating a kind of like a auditing program for students. If students are not meeting certain requirements in their classes, they're going to be retroactively billed. They're going to be punished academically and financially for their decisions to take additional courses, to take courses outside of their major. And financial aid is becoming very limited for the most vulnerable in our school.
The Tuition Assistance Program, or TAP, the most important financial aid that CUNY students receive, is run by the state of New York.
Before CUNYFirst, I get to get all my checks on time, and I get to know what are my rewards. I get to know how much I need to pay to the school. After CUNYFirst, none of these information I can get. I don't know how much the school wants to take from me. I don't know what money I should receive. I don't know what my check says. I didn't get any of my money yet. And I don't know if I'm still attending to classes or the drop, because some classes were dropped automatically, some students were dropped automatically, and they had to re-register again.
So you still don't have your TAP?
In the past few years, the state has increasingly emphasized limiting financial aid to only those who show satisfactory academic progress. This is a vague standard that CUNY Central has chosen to interpret very narrowly. Students can only take a certain number of classes outside their major and continue to receive financial aid.
There's this philosophy student who wanted to take, one day he realized that he was really good at math and he wanted to take a calculus class. So he went out of his philosophy major, went to take a calculus class. He did pretty well. The next semester he comes back and he has an $800 balance because the calculus class wasn't covered with his financial aid, because CUNYFirst registered not him to be taking a class outside his major.
This is a fundamentally cynical view of education. Poor people should only be able to go to school insofar as they are demonstrably making themselves economically more valuable to the state and corporations.
And administrators who were formulating CUNYFirst, I've heard that they are really cracking down on students who can't pay and students who owe them money, which I think is adverse to the foundations that this college was given, which is a free academy for the working class, a place where students from all economic backgrounds can really participate.
However, because CUNYFirst is so dysfunctional, even people who are playing by these oppressive rules are losing their financial aid.
Prior to CUNYFirst, it always took me longer to get it come through, just because my mother doesn't have a social security number, so it becomes much slower. I have to give in the paperwork in person. That is almost impossible now with CUNYFirst, because obviously it's on the internet. So technically I still don't have my tuition paid for. My financial aid still hasn't come through. The only reason I'm not deregistered right now is because of the fellowship that I'm in. They actually asked the registrar to put a hold on my deregistration. It's the only reason I'm actually still allowed to enter this building.
It is students who are pursuing these ambitious paths who are most likely to lose their financial aid. On top of all that, CUNY Central administrators decided to use CUNYFirst to retroactively audit students' past semesters and punish them for taking classes outside their major, even before this new system was implemented. These decisions were decisions made by people within this university, and they can be changed. Students and faculty who want to make a difference need to spread the word about what has happened with CUNYFirst and TAP eligibility, and organize to fight for the CUNY that we are meant to have.
I'm not going to be one of those individuals who are really what's a defeatist. Like CUNY First sucks as a whole.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's a way to get things more integrated, way to run things more smoothly, make it more easier and accessible for students. Ideally.
Yeah.
But I think that there needs to be, everything needs to be done swiftly and smoothly, because you got fucking people's lives depending on this shit. You got money depending on this shit. You got like classes depending on this shit. Like, this is people's lives you're fucking with, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm gonna say. Stop fucking with our lives.